I am from Spinini. My name is Julia Duff. I am the executive director, and I have been lucky enough to partner with Jean and Laura and Casey for the past, this is our second annual Strut and Stroll, a fashion show for all featuring all models living with spina bifida and the incredible brands and designers who are paving the way for fashion to be inclusive. And some of you might be wondering, why are you on mute? Why can't you turn your video on? It's a little different this year. We are doing a webinar style to make it easy to view and easy to record. And if you are one of the models or brands and you are asked to come on to speak, we will promote you to be a panelist. And if you have any questions, you can use the Q&A feature. Our goal is to get to as many questions as we can, either for our moderator, Casey, one of our models, one of our brand's designers, but we do have to be cognizant of the time. It is St. Patrick's Day, but mainly use that to ask any questions. And we hope that you use the chat to really connect with your friends, connect with the brands and designers, and connect with the models. So I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm Julia. I'm going to let Jean kick off with the introductions. And then after that, we're going to start the show. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Julia. And I just want to join Julia in welcoming everybody to our second annual Strut and Stroll fashion show for all. This was a really small idea that started as kind of a fun distraction during COVID last year that has just really blossomed into a fully fledged event. And that is due to a lot of the people who are on this call today. I want to especially say thank you to Julia and to Bree and the entire team at Spinini. It is just a joy to work with them. We truly are stronger together. We love partnering with them. In particular, I want to say a special thank you to Laura Brown-Lambert, who is our operations manager here at Spagni. I don't know what kind of a special dish Spagni would be, but we are Spagni proud over here. And Laura has incredible talent as a video editor. So she is the one that put this whole show together that you're going to enjoy as soon as I stop talking. We will meet our incredible moderator, Casey, after the video. So I just wanted to say a few thank yous, a few welcomes, and then we'll get right to the show. I also want to let you know that we will be providing an audio described version of this show. As soon as it's available, we will let you know. An audio described version will make it accessible to people who are blind or visually impaired. It can also be helpful for children or people who are learning English, or anybody that finds it helpful to listen to text read aloud. In addition to reading the text, our audio describer, who is Corey Couture, a former board member here at Spagni, will be providing physical descriptions of our models, of the moderator, of what they are wearing, and of the settings of their photos. So I want to also just say a special thank you to Corey for doing this for us. Corey is an adult with spina bifida. She spent 6 years on the board here at Spagni. She edited the organization's quarterly newsletter, co-founded its youth and adults group, and helped to plan its first lunch and learn event in 2005. For her master's degree, she created a one-woman show about how the arts buoyed her throughout life's challenges, and shared it with people of all ages who have spina bifida, as well as their families and healthcare professionals. Corey currently works as an audio describer, making live theater, TV programs, and films accessible to people who are blind or have low vision. In the past, she worked at WGBH as an audio describer, then as a project director teaching teachers to use technology in their classroom. She's also been a freelance computer consultant and a health communication writer and editor at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. So we're very grateful to her for her work and for making this even more accessible to people in our community. So just quickly, I want to just thank the transformative brands that are represented here tonight. I really want to thank our models for their engagement and for the entire community for your support of this program. This is why it has continued to grow and why we're so excited about bringing it to you again. In our community, we know that inclusion matters, representation matters. As Prada herself has said, what you wear is how you present yourself to the world. Fashion is instant language. We really want to thank the 11 brands represented here tonight for helping the entire fashion industry to expand their vocabulary. Finally, our most heartfelt thanks goes to our models. We have 18 models this year. They range in age from 3 to 53. We have models of all genders, races, ethnicities, levels of mobility. We thank you all so much for representing the Spina Bifida community and for showing the world how essential it is to have clothing that fits not only your body, but your personal style and your own self-expression. So without further ado, let's go on with the show. It was spectacular. I've seen it so many times, and every time I see something I missed, and I couldn't love it more. And I have to say again, thank you so much, Laura. It was a phenomenal amount of work to take all of those photos and weave them into such a seamless and beautiful video. So that was just incredible work. Thank you so much to our models. Especially to our brands. I saw a lot of comments about shopping. Please support these brands. They are working so hard for you. So please, we have all of their information and links is in the program guide that you received. So please reach out to the brands, support the brands. So while Julia is promoting all of our panelists to be presenter or whatever is the term, I want to introduce you to our moderator, who is, we are so happy to welcome back for a second year. Casey Marshall is our wonderful and beautiful moderator. We're so thrilled and honored to have her. Casey graduated from Kent State University in 2019 with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Fashion Design. As a wheelchair user herself, she understands firsthand the struggle of finding clothing that works with her disability. After struggling to find a prom dress that worked with her wheelchair, Casey chose to focus on an adaptive evening wear collection for women who use wheelchairs, which gained national attention from the Today Show. Disabled models are beautiful, confident, and deserve a more prominent place in the industry. Casey wants to increase understanding through diversity and representation within the fashion industry, and she's doing it. In her free time, she enjoys makeup, writing, and exploring New York City. So Casey, welcome. I'm going to turn it over to you, and we are going to start with we have invited a couple of models to come on and share their reactions to the show, and then we will talk to our brands. So Casey, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, and thank you so much, Julia and Jean and Laura and the whole team for all your hard work. I know a lot goes into this, and it was an amazing show, so thank you so much. So I don't know, I can't see any of the panelists yet.
Yeah, so Casey, when you call up someone, I will make them a panelist, and I actually made you a co-host because we'll still be on the screen. I was hoping I could be a host and not be a panelist, but Jean and I will be both, so we will be here with you for this. So whenever you are ready, you can announce the model and then I'll pull them up.
Okay, our first model is Lila Blackington.
All right, I just got to figure out what Lila is in as. Oh, I'm guessing it's Sarah. Sarah, you have been promoted to panelist. There we go. And you can turn your video on and unmute, and then we will ask your question.
Hi, Lila. So please tell us what this experience has meant to you and how it has made you feel.
It's meant for me, it's made me very proud, and I feel that it's really helping everyone be okay with seeing our type of models out there, and that it's cool to be different and be like I stand out to everyone.
Amazing. Thank you, Lila.
Okay.
And then our next model is Lindsay Holmes. Lindsay.
Hi.
My question for you is, what is the hardest part about going shopping?
This is a very timely question because I just went shopping this past weekend. And I think for me, the hardest part is the fact that when you can go to 3 different stores and the sizes are different. So it takes much longer than it should to go shopping because you have to try everything on. You can't just go in and grab a size whatever and expect it to fit the same way as your size whatever fits at home. And it's particularly frustrating as somebody like myself who has spina bifida and who walks around the store, and it's exhausting to have to like walk from each store and walk around and try things on and take things on and off. And it would just be much easier if all of the if one size was the same regardless of what store you went into.
That's so true. I feel like a lot of us can relate to that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then our next model is Tyler Boyce.
I'm here. Ask me away.
Hi, Tyler. So how does it feel to see other people with bodies similar to yours as models and in product advertising? And where are you seeing disabled models in the media?
First off, it makes me feel really, really good because it's like we're actually going somewhere and like, you know, like not feeling like we're alone and like outcasts basically. And the second one, media, I haven't really seen that much like people with disabilities on like commercials and stuff. I know there's a kid named Colton, but besides that, I haven't seen anyone, and I really am hoping that I do see.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I want to see more people with disabilities as well. And I think too, like you said, it does just build up your confidence whenever you finally see people that look like you doing modeling and in the industry. So thank you so much, Tyler.
Casey, we actually got another question for Tyler. And it's from Derek from Zappos. He wants to know, what's your favorite type of music? He notices that you don't like a lot of the music your mom plays during workouts.
So tell him the truth.
Okay, I like rock music and pop.
Yeah.
So I like some of the music.
Yeah.
But
He likes some of my
all
music.
right, we're gone. Kidding.
Good question, Derek.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Well, it's all right. I think the next question is for your mom. So Amy, if you want to stay on.
All right, I'm right here.
All right. Can you describe the challenges of finding clothing to fit your children as they grow up? And where do you find clothes that fit their bodies and reflect their style and self-expression?
Yeah, you know, it is really hard, especially hard after surgery, because I'm not going to lie, like
Very
Tyler
true.
ends up wearing his dad's oversized shorts after surgeries and when he has to wear casts or braces or things like that. But honestly, you know, we've done pretty well shopping at Target. It's close to home. It's within 10 minutes, and the Jack and Jill brand there, and a few other adaptive brands we've really enjoyed. And, you know, quite honestly, we feel really fortunate to have made some great relationships with people from social media and working with Zappos Adaptive and their wonderful gear. They make it really easy to find what we need online because we don't have a lot of time to shop in person at stores. So for us, we need one-stop shopping, online recommendations, so that we can, you know, get our clothes in and look good while we're wearing it. So that's really important because, you know, when you're 16, Tyler's 16, he doesn't want to look like a little kid.
Nope.
You know, he wants to look like just like any other high school kid. But we want those clothes to go on easy because we don't have a lot of time in the morning.
Sure.
And you know, ultimately we want him to be completely independent dressing. So those are really important things.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Our next model is Marcos.
All right, Marcos has been invited to be a panelist. I am pretty sure that Marcos and some of his friends in the show are currently playing some wheelchair basketball. So let's make sure that they can hop in here. It looks like Marcos is here if you want to unmute. And turn on your video. Oh, there he is.
Hi, Marcos. My question for you is, where do you think the industry needs to continue to look and grow?
I think more for brands to look more towards social media in order to engage with their younger demographic, because with them, even though they're the ones that are going to see, and they're going to tell their parents, hey, can you buy this for me, or this and that. And the more people that know about these brands, the better it will help them. So I think that social media could be an excellent vehicle to drive information about these brands. So
Thank you. Okay, so I think we're going into our next.
Actually,
Got it.
Casey, we had a question in the chat. I think it's for Amy. If I can find it. Yes, so Corey wanted to know, do you order a variety of sizes at the store in person, or do you order online and pick up in the store? Anybody's answer to the question about the store. Basically, what's your efficient strategy for getting the clothing that you need?
So the sizes, I can answer that.
Yeah.
I sometimes I do order a couple sizes. I've noticed with like knit clothing, I usually stay in like the smalls, and I know that I'm usually a small in knits, but then whenever it's like wovens, it's really hard to tell because of my spine, especially with pants. I know Derek has helped me out at Zappos because sometimes I'm a 10 in kids and sometimes I'm a 14 in kids, and it really just depends. So being able to try it on, and if you're not able to try it on, ordering a couple sizes or returning whenever you need to.
I think that Amy's saying the same thing. She orders a couple sizes and just returns what they don't need. So that's awesome advice. We're getting great questions in the Q&A for the brands. So I'll keep my eye on that, and we can turn it right over to Nikki.
All right, Nikki, you can unmute and video yourself again, please. There we go.
Hi.
Hi, Nikki.
Hi.
So you're with Be Free.
Yeah.
So you created your first pieces of adaptive clothing for your daughter, Stella. How is that original passion still reflected into the company's story?
Well, that's a great question because, you know, having a daughter that's living and breathing the world of adaptive fashion, I constantly am watching her struggle with everyday dressing and undressing herself and things that she wants to do. And I think starting the pants originally were out of a necessity from a recovery that she went through from a double hip surgery, has evolved into more of a need of an everyday lifestyle that I want to give to her. And even though she's the number one person that it starts for always for me with anything around adaptive, realizing the need for other individuals, not just from recovery, but for everyday ease of dressing and undressing. It continues to make me want to continue to pay it forward and help and think of other ways to offer that individuals can dress and undress themselves, you know, and just give them that freedom to do it, hence Be Free, and continue to, you know, make an impact on the lives of everybody that is, you know, taking some stuff for granted, I think sometimes, and realizing that there's more out there that we can offer. And we're part of that journey, and we're going to make it happen. I made that promise to my daughter, and I will stick to it. So
that's amazing. Yeah, independence is confidence, and I love what you're doing. So the next question I have for you is, what is the most rewarding aspect of being an accessible and inclusive brand?
Well, I have to say, you know, like when we first started, I said already it started from my daughter, but then when we had requests for more and people interested in it, and we were able to make them for them, and just seeing the smiles on the caregivers, the individuals that use them, and the emails and the text messages and all these things that we receive every day, and letters that have been written to us, people reordering our pants because they see the need. I mean, that's just the most amazing and beautiful feeling that we took something out of a need for, my daughter, and now I've been able to offer it to everybody out there. And I don't know, I couldn't be more proud of us. I couldn't be more proud of our brand. I'm so emotional around it personally. And literally makes me so happy to get letters and notes saying, you know, thank you so much for making my child's day easier, or my husband, or whatever it is. And I think at the end of the day, that's what keeps us motivated and empowered and passionate, and knowing that we have something that we can offer. And we have so many ideas out there, and we're just going to keep moving forward and offering our product and hoping people will love it and enjoy it. And, you know, just that's our goal.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next brand is the Charlotte Letter, and we'll be welcoming Cameron and Stephanie Brooks.
Awesome. I want to make sure that they were able to make it. Cameron and Stephanie, if you are here, let me know what you're in the chat. I think while we wait for them, what I'll do is I'll invite Friendly Shoes to come up.
Hi, Joseph.
Hey, how's it going, Casey?
Good. How's it going? So my first question for you is, with a founder who got his start as an occupational therapist, how did that impact the mission and vision for the brand?
Oh, thank you so much. Simple for me. I practiced for about 10 years, starting with early intervention going through geriatrics. So throughout the lifespan, I had individuals with difficulties putting on their shoes, not associated with their specific condition, but it just was one of those moments where you're scratching your head and thinking, why isn't anyone solving this problem? This was before Zappos Adaptive had helped us out with offering these opportunities for shoes that are easier to don. One thing led to another, and we started pushing forward with our Friendly brand. And we tried to keep our brand very specific with helping individuals firsthand. And the key ingredient to this is listening. Listening is the most important thing. And outside of other brands, we're really trying to, the more people we could listen to, the more adjustments we could make, more accommodations, we could make for future shoes.
Amazing. My second question for you is, what would you say to a fashion brand looking to become more accessible? What would your advice be for them?
I'm going to try to keep this one simple. I tend to ramble on. I would say to listen. It's super important. The individuals that are actually having these shoe donning challenges, no one is the same. Just throwing out there, all feet are different, including left and right for the individuals that do have both, extremities. So you just have to listen, make adjustments. Profit is important for sustainability, but it's not the only thing. We have some really large companies out there that could make huge changes in regards to accessibility for, fashion, especially footwear, with the snap of a finger. So listening, making these adjustments, and keeping in consideration, it's not just how you look. I know that someone kind of mentioned this before, but it's how you feel. It's how you feel, not just sensory wise, but that extra half inch you get in your posture, just the impression management piece. So I have spoke on this before. It's important. Zappos Adaptive has done an amazing job. There are some other large brands that are coming out to help us. Competitive business atmosphere in the United States. It's the ability to kind of recognize these authentic brands and working with them and listening to the individual that's going to wear the shoe.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for being a part of this.
No,
Casey, we have a couple of questions in the Q&A actually for Joseph. First of all, we also have a lot of really positive comments about the shoes and the fit and the fashion, and people are really excited and enjoying them. We have a question about shoes. Heather's saying she's always had trouble finding dress shoes because of the shape and position of her feet. One is a typical flat foot and the other is pointed permanently in a ballet point position. So she wants to know, is there a way to attach a sock type thing inside a shoe that attaches to the shoes so they buckle or snap or Velcro inside the shoe and don't slide out, because her pointed foot always slides out without her braces or is wide enough to wear with her AFOs, because that's the other dress shoes don't usually fit with braces.
That's a complicated question. There are so many variables when getting involved in footwear. I'm going to ask to please email me directly at Joseph, Joseph at friendlyshoes.com. If we could get some of the measures, this really helps us. This is what we're trying to do at Friendly Shoes. I am the customer service in addition to the other hats I wear, but you have to look at all these details and kind of fine tune different parts of it, and that's how you get to your best outcome.
Okay, we have a couple of other questions. One is, do you have any suggestions for formal wear dress shoes that are small sizes but don't look childish? For example, for prom.
My best suggestion would be to go to Zappos Adaptive. Not to repeat myself from before, but it's they're really good. There are a lot of options, and there's a great return policy. Someone, I think it was Casey referenced before, to try on, perhaps order multiple sizes in return. I know this is hard for the individual that's running the company, but once you find your size, once you find your style, the repeat order is a lot easier. That's where we've had a lot of success. Virtual sizing through online is the most difficult, but you have the largest inventory opportunity to see more if you just walk to your local shop around the corner. So I don't have any suggestions, but that would be my best generalist recommendation. There's a lot of offerings. It's continuing to grow, and that's important to letting in the big brands and the small brands, and hopefully, everything will come together as time passes and we continue to advocate.
Thank you. And there have been a lot of good recommendations in the chat too about shoes. The final question is, how do companies include people with disabilities at all other levels of the company and production?
I cannot speak on behalf of other footwear companies. I could speak on behalf of ours. We have an open door policy. We're always campaigning the Abilities Expos throughout the United States, so we get this one-on-one opportunity to discuss and, most importantly, to see. Even as an occupational therapist with 10, not too much, not too little years experience, yet generalized within these walls, and you never really know the answers until you actually get the products out in front of customers, and they're actually giving you, the real recommendation. You're getting the information straight from the horse's mouth. So that would be my recommendation. Reach out to us anytime. That is my direct cell. I'm not going to give it. I'm sorry, direct email. I'm not going to give out my direct cell because I have kids and can't take too many text messages. But yeah, there's a lot of details here. We're all putting it together. When I started, my first prototype in my garage was before 2014. So before I saw any of these progressions happen in regards to footwear, you're looking at footwear. It's the only article of clothing you're going to wear in subsequent days, and someone's not going to look at you funny. It's very important for the ambulators, the prolonged sitters, the technologies tend to vary based on MMs. So please reach out to us. Excuse my kids in the back corner. And yeah, the more info we could get, the better. We are operating lean. So our position is pretty good, and advocacy from y'all has been amazing. We've reached our 9th country. We're now 3 years in, and we're grateful for the opportunity. And we're going to continue to work for y'all if y'all can continue to kind of work for us and help us out with anything we need to change or adjust for upcoming iterations. Style is the biggest variable we're getting. The functionality, which I love, the lightweight, all of these features, style, something that we know we need to improve on.
Awesome.
I just want to jump in quick and say hi, because I met Joseph at the Abilities Expo probably 5 months ago. And I saw his shoes and I saw him trying them on, and I brought up the Strut and Stroll, and he showed up. He dressed almost 3/4 of our models with their friendly shoes and immediately was interested in raising awareness, and it didn't take much. So I just want to say kudos to you, and thank you so much for your willingness to be a part of it this year after such a brief meeting with me at an expo full of people, brands, companies, etc. So thank you.
No, thank you, Julia. There's a soft spot in my heart for Northeast individuals. I'm a Northeast Irish Italian, a University of Rhode Island graduate, did my master's at Seton Hall. So anything we could do to help, I mean, this is a labor of love, and I'm happy to be here.
Amazing. Thank you. I think we're ready to move on to Is Adaptive. If you can find Benedict for us, Julia. Joseph, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Benedict has been invited to join on in, and here he comes.
Hi, Benedict. I think you're muted.
There we go. I think the lighting is extremely bad. Maybe just give me one second. Sorry.
You're okay.
It's been slowly getting darker.
We can see, yeah, you're good.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Katie.
So my first question for you is, with a founder and head designer recognized in the fashion world outside of adaptive and inclusive fashion, what has the adaptive fashion taught you that you wouldn't have learned in the mainstream fashion industry?
Well, Izzy unfortunately could not make it tonight. She is really the brains behind. She's the founder and the designer. I think what I can tell you from knowing her after working with her for 3.5 years now is, before Iz was launched, she spent 5 years just being a sponge. And this all was started because someone living with tetraplegia came to her looking for a cape that would work with her chair. And even at that point, as a designer, she was blown over because she just had no idea. And I think that kind of speaks to what a lot of designers in the world are facing that have been around longer, and especially with the big brands. And now, of course, with adaptive fashion becoming so much more out in the forefront of people's awareness. But prior to the last couple of years, even, or last 3 years before it really started to take off, I think what she felt was that it wasn't that designers were ignoring, it was that designers just actually didn't realize that they never even considered the possibility that there were different dressing needs. And maybe that is what really speaks to the heart of ableism, is just total ignorance. Like, it's actual genuine ignorance, it's just like, oh wow, it never even occurred to me. And even now, it was interesting hearing from Ms. Francisco there, because I speak to occupational therapists all the time, and occupational therapists even now will say to me, oh wow, I had no idea this existed. And so there's a huge educational piece that still is required for everybody. And I know for Izzy, for the first few years, she just spent time making custom clothing and just really learning and listening. Like Jason just said, it was just really listening to what was needed. And she couldn't have done that without just having those one-on-one conversations and learning about either, things like self-catheterization, or the fact, considering the fact that one is seated all day and how that changes the way the clothes drape on your body, and then of course the numerous disabilities that extend from there, whether seated or standing, that change what a person's dressing needs are. And I mean, there's still so many questions that we have as a brand to learn about what other needs need to be fit.
Yeah, I think that's so true. I have friends that have never had friends with someone with a disability, and just the perspective after meeting me that changes, and the things that they notice just like going out. Like, I wouldn't even think to look for an elevator or to look for an accessible bathroom stall, but then once you know someone, your mind is now looking for those things. And I think that's definitely true within the fashion industry. You don't know the need until it's called out to you.
Yeah. And I was just thinking during this wonderful fashion, like, how awesome would it be if, because I don't know, I'd be really curious to know what everybody in this whole fashion show, both the models and the brands and the people wearing the clothes and the people behind this event, but everybody's thoughts on the word term adaptive clothing. Because for me, I know that I personally would love to see a world where it's just clothes. And that would mean, as I was thinking about, like, how would that work? And it would really mean that the people on the floor selling the clothes would really need to have that part of their mind open to the point where they're always asking, like, what is the person I'm dressing need? And they would therefore need to be aware of all body types, you know? So maybe retail salespeople, that's a job requirement. Moving forward, they got to know all body types.
I love that. My second question for you is, what is your creative process when coming up with new adaptive fashion pieces?
Well, again, I don't want to put words in Izzy's mouth, and I'm not a designer. So I will have to I could pass, or I could say what I do know is that it's really about solving something that needs to be solved. So for like in the last year and a half, we released our Game Changer collection, which are some of the models we're wearing. They're bottoms that are completely seamless. And that's because for years, wheelchair users came to us saying, please create some pants that are completely seamless in the back. And so that inspires, how do you make that fashionable and solve the challenge necessary? But on top of that, as a designer, you'll have to ask her, and unfortunately she can't make it.
I think, do we have any questions?
Yep, we do. We have a couple questions in the Q&A. Benedict, I think you touched on this, but Derek is asking what kind of advancements has Iz made since Izzy started trying to help her friend out?
Well, one is what I just mentioned, is the Game Changer collection. And that is, for years, Izzy was trying to figure out how to make pants that would work for wheelchair users that were completely seamless in the back while still being fashionable from the front. And she did crack that code a year and a half ago, as far as figuring out how that was possible. And we're really excited about that, because something we would love to do is also just extend that technology, which is patent pending, but license it to other brands. Because if people love wearing Levi's, then it would be awesome if people could get some 501s that were seamless in the back, for example, or whatever iconic brands people wear, Banana Republic or Lee's, or just popular brands, you know, just easy access. And other than that, I mean, we started offering footwear recently, Billy footwear, which we're really excited about. So that's not so much like an advancement in our own designing, but just in terms of expanding what we offer. And we just love what Billy does. But that's the big one, is the seamless in the back. And underwear, working on underwear. And we'd really love, we're trying to extend to children's wear. That just takes some time.
That's amazing. You're getting a lot of positive feedback for the pants in partnership with Levi's in particular in the chat. We have one more question, and really any of the designers coming up after this can answer it too. But Lindsay is wondering if any or all of the designers can address the fact that some of the clothing is really expensive and challenging for people with disabilities who are, you know, on a more limited budget.
I can speak to that for sure, but happy to open it up for other brands. I can comment on that first? Yeah,
that'd be great.
I mean, there is obviously a huge disparity, financial disparities in the community, and certainly for brands like us that are smaller, and there's only, you know, 2.5 of us running it, and make everything in small volumes, and everything's made in the United States and Canada. A lot of people aren't aware of just how much that affects manufacturing costs. And the reality is, like, our baseline manufacturing costs are higher than, say, what it would cost to shop at somewhere like Walmart's or Costco. So if you were to buy a pair of jeans at Walmart and it's, say, $30, that's cheaper than it is for us just to make our jeans. And that's just the reality of being a smaller brand. But I think it's finding that sweet spot where I think we just got to get creative, to be honest. So that's our end. That's the reality for us. Finding the solution, I think that's the challenge. We haven't found a way to get around that because we're really mindful of making stuff offshore. We're not against making stuff offshore. But one challenge that we've faced is if we go and make things offshore, and by doing that, we're not aware of the supply chain. Well, we're serving a community that is in many ways marginalized. And as a result of that, that means that behind selling clothes, what we're doing is fighting for equality. And if we're fighting for a more equal world, and in order to do that, we try to make our clothes cheaper, and then we go and make things offshore. And in doing that, we actually are unconsciously or in a way that we're not aware of, putting a stamp of approval on slave labor, for example, then it means that we're not actually serving our mission, which is to create a more equal world. It means we're serving one community at the detriment of another. So it's a complex issue and it's not simple. And what it means is, for the time being, we have to focus on quality, well-built, built-to-last clothing. And that means that it's more expensive, and then figuring out other ways to make it more affordable for those that can't afford it. And I think a big part of that is actually just creating a world where there's more employment opportunities and more equal employment income opportunities for the disability community, so that things are affordable when you shop locally.
I think that's a really good summation of the scope of and the many layers involved in the process. I think that was all the questions that were in the Q&A for you. So I think we're ready to move on to Cool Way Sports. Julia, if you can invite John and Jen to join.
Thank you, Benedict.
Thank you, Benedict.
Hi.
Hello.
So can you tell us a bit about your outerwear and why you do what you do, how it's designed, fitted, and made, and the cool give and cool wish opportunities available through your brand?
Sure, I'd love to. And congratulations on a fantastic show. Jennifer started this business 20 years ago with a dream, and the dream was adaptive clothing. And we find that there are no two individuals with the same body frame, and a lot of our client base are medically fragile, confined to a wheelchair, where it could take 20 to 30 minutes to dress and undress an individual. So in a day, it might be 2 hours of dressing and undressing, and we find solutions, and that's the whole thing. We call ourselves the custom tailors. All our clothes are custom made, and we find the solutions. Once we make a product for a family, we do a follow-up so that we have focus groups with our clients, and we say, okay, what do you like about it? What changes would you like? We go back to our management team and our design team, and we go from there. There aren't enough individuals in the world doing special clothing for individuals with disabilities of all types, and that's the big thing. And going back to what the fellow Canadian just said from Izzy, the big problem is labor is huge in North America, the cost. Material goods aren't bad, but it's labor. And we want to make we don't believe in filling the dump sites. Our products are sustainable and we have longevity. When we make a winter coat for an individual, it is more expensive But my philosophy is, what are you spending now? Oh, you don't put a coat on your child right now, or your adult, you can't get one. Oh, when you do get one, what are you buying? Well, I go to Walmart and buy 4 of them a year, and I'm ripping the zippers. Okay, so you can buy ours for the same thing, and it'll last 10, 12 years. We've got, and Jennifer will get into one of your other questions, we've got coats that are given, angel gifted to maybe 3, 4 individuals down the food chain, and they're still 100% looking brand new. So we do custom fitting. I know that's one of your next questions on why we do custom fitting, but going back to the body frames and everything else, we want to make them, we want to solve their solution and their challenge. And we've got families that'll say, you cannot make a coat for my individual. We've never found one. I tried to make one, we can't make one. And I said, I'm sorry, we have never not made one. We do 3D drawings. If they have the ride chair out of Colorado with the adaptive bars on the foreheads and neck rests, we're able to adapt our coat, in a special way that when you look at them head on, you think they'd have a normal high-class jacket. Jen, do you have?
Yeah, it's like everybody is saying, we listen to our clients.
Yeah.
It's so important, and everybody has touched on that. And that whole thing where it's so important to look good and feel good. And we have kids and adults that pick out their favorite colors because of their sports teams they love, and they go to the stadium and they want to look like everybody else. So it's all about inclusion, and like when you feel good, you look good. So I'm going to just touch on our Cool Give program, which has been very successful. So when John talks about longevity and sustainability, well, yeah, our products don't wear out. So we have families that say, we have these gently used coats. Do you know anybody that they would fit? And we thought, well, why not start sort of a recycle program? So we call it Cool Give. So for instance, we had a product that was cool gifted from Edmonton that went to Ottawa, and we just matched the families and the kids or adults. We just work virtually, do a Zoom fitting with them, and make sure the coat's going to fit. If it needs any gently, a new zipper put in or anything, little repairs before it goes to the other family, we do that as well. And all the other family has to do is pay for the shipping. So we're honored to be here tonight. And I'm going to say this is the first group of people that are going to find out that we're cool gifting coats to the Ukraine right now. And it's our highest honor to be able to help and reach out to these people that need the coats. But we help everybody that we possibly can in Canada and the States and around the world, just by regifting. And we just want to do more of that moving forward. And then we have a Cool Wish program. So if somebody, say, can't afford a coat and they're limited funds, well, we'll start a little fund for them, and then family and friends can buy gift cards and then put it towards their Cool Wish. And we had our first Cool Wish a couple of months ago, and the coat was paid for, and so it's into production. But we do listen to clients. We know we're expensive, but there's all kinds of ways and of getting some funding, and John will speak to that after.
So Jennifer, thanks for the segue. The comment has been made that it's expensive. It is expensive. I try to tell individuals when they call me as president and the bank that we pay a living wage. We use only skilled seamstresses and men and ladies. A lot of our staff are actual first-time immigrants into Canada. Our products are 100% made right here just east of Toronto, and we only use North American milled products. But when an individual comes to us and says, gee, it's a little pricey, we have funding avenues, which we contact with them. We use one out of Michigan called Lori's Voice, which will do under 18 for a certain dollar amount per state. We then match them up with other foundations and things like that. And we also are willing to do a payment plan where we will stretch it out over a number of payments. We're working with indigenous groups all through North America who have special indigenous funding. And unfortunately in Canada, the funding is not as available as it is in the US. I know the applications are long and tedious, but if you are looking for a product, please get someone to help you fill the form out. If you come to us, we can give you direction because there is a lot of money on the table that individuals do not know about. And I think that's the big thing. You know, we're honored to, you know, we're honored every day. We have tears of joy. When we do our Zoom fittings for that last 30, 40 minutes, man, it tugs at the heart. And when you see when the product gets delivered and the family put it on the adult or child and they can dress them as quick as they can, they have self-esteem, they look professional, they're able to do stuff. That's one of the things we do. We also interview the families. We ask them, when you get our product, what sort of activity do you want to do with your loved one, which you have not been able to do? And that lets us know what sort of insulation we want, what added options we want. You know, well, they have shoulder harness. Well, we integrate a shoulder opening in the jacket that we make in the cape. Oh, we get fed with a G-tube. We have integrated a G-tube opening so they don't have to take the jacket off. And that's the whole thing. And
I think that's the aha thing, John, when people see that we have these little adaptations, that's why they want to buy the coat with the zippers under the sleeves. It makes it easier for caregivers to get people dressed and parents and get their kids off to school faster, and they look good and feel good. They look like everybody else.
Yep. And the excuse that the child cannot go out for recess or for lunch break because the caregiver or the teaching assistant doesn't want to dress them in what they're wearing. We've actually gone back into schools and trained the staff on how to properly dress because they can't get it right. And once we do it, we did a big presentation to the Deaf and Blind Association of Ontario. And Jennifer was there and I was there, and we were fitting and demoing about 15 or 16 clients. And the two caregivers says, we can't dress Billy. And while they were talking, I said, look at Billy. And I had dressed Billy and they didn't even know I dressed Billy. And they could not believe it. And that's the whole thing. When a family says, you know, or we get a 35-year-old from East Coast in Canada saying, I have never owned a coat. And I'm a 5XL and I can't buy anything. You can't buy it off the rack. People with disabilities have a great difficulty of buying stuff off the rack. Well, we will do it. We've done joint programs with Permobile and Sunrise Medical Wheelchair Companies, and we've done 6 and 8XL. And let me tell you, they're big, but when they get it, they have it for life.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you both so much. There's a lot of positive comment in the chat just about the personal attention and the individual attention, which is great. Some really creative suggestions about bartering and all of that. So I'll encourage you to check out the chat and all the comments you are getting. Some links about organizations in Ukraine. That's a wonderful announcement that you made. I think that's really touching for all of us and really pertinent right now. And I think I see that Lisa has joined us, so we're ready to move on to pumpkin futz. But John and Julie, Jennifer, thank you so much. Lisa, you're muted.
Oh, I got it. Thanks.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Casey.
Why was Pumpkin Futz created, and how has the brand changed over time?
So I'm going to take part of this question and then I'm going to pass it over to Shanique. I'll tell you that I created the brand because I have 2 children with disabilities, and similar to Be Free earlier, we really, thank you, Julia. We really, we started making things that we needed for our own kids. So we make a line of accessories for wheelchairs, walkers, and gait trainers. We also make a line of sensory play products for children. So we made what we needed, and I'm going to pass it to Shanique to talk about like how have we changed as a brand.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here again this year. And I think how we've changed, I would say we've become more of a community-based brand. I think we've always been that way, but when I came onto Pumpkin Fudge, which it's been such a joy to be here and to be fully accepted for who I am and what I bring into the world as a person with a disability. I've been able to sort of share other people's stories and share my own story, therefore making people super comfortable to like want to share with us and want to bring different stories to our brand and work with us. And we've found different ways to collaborate with other brands, like a lot of the brands that are here today. I mean, some of you guys we haven't worked with, but some of you guys we have, and it's been really great. As a small business, I think we've just become super community-based and collaborative. Someone actually referred to us as a community center not too long ago, and it threw me off a little bit, but it made so much sense. I was like, wow, that really makes a lot of sense when you get to know us and who we are. I actually don't own the brand. Lisa does. As much as people like to forget or confuse that, I don't. I just work for the brand, and I've been here for the last 4 years, and it's been amazing, like I said. But yeah, that's how I would say we've changed over time.
Somebody just mentioned, I'm gonna point out, we've done, we're doing a partnership with Sesame Street. So we launched a Sesame Street line at JCPenney this past year, and it's been really fun. Sesame Street has been a wonderful partner for us, and it's really allowed us to grow and change a lot as a brand. But whether or not, who owns the brand, we're absolutely driven by our employees. And we couldn't do any of this or be anything that we are without the way that we employ. So we employ entirely from the community of adults with disabilities. So from the start, that's been part of our brand. It's really central to why I think our quality is so good. We design all of our products, we produce our products. All of this is done with a workforce of adults with disabilities, and it makes all the difference.
That's amazing. My second question for you is, tell us about your commitment to hiring individuals who are in the disability community and why that's so important to your brand.
Thank you. So I think, like I just said, I'll tell you, I think our product quality is better than anything else you will find, and it is because of how it is made. I also, through the pandemic, we started a 501c3 because the way that we employ is absolutely central to the mission of our company and everything that we do. And so we actually started a nonprofit called Powered by Inclusion, and we are working at, people have been talking tonight about representation. So one of the things that we're doing, for example, is we've created an after-school program, and we use adults with disabilities to teach children in inclusion, general ed, and special ed populations, because it's really important that children have role models from day one that look like they do, that are successful, dynamic, wonderful adults. And so we're everything about us as a brand is about how we employ. And so it's absolutely everything.
And I think to that, I have to say, like, I never saw this life for myself until I actually was here. And it's sad that I have to even say that, because I didn't see people in my position before I was actually here. I know there were people, but that's why representation really does matter. Like, people have always told me, even through my position here at Pumpkin Fudge, they're like, it's really great to see you like in this position. I really have a lot of hope for my child who may be like super young, but I have hope that they are going to make it and they're going to be successful in an industry because we see someone like you. And I think for me, I didn't really have that luxury to see that when I was a child. So I didn't really see this life for myself. So I'm super grateful to be here and to be able to give that hope to other parents and other children. So, yeah.
Thank you all for having us back again this year. We really appreciate it.
Don't go anywhere. We do have another question for you from the chat. Heather is asking, would there be a way to pad the strap that goes around the hand rim wheel with felt or something like that to make it easier to grab if she's going fast? She loves her bag and it helps her either not lose her keys anymore or at least cut the number of times that happens in half. So progress.
Oh, I'm really glad. So that's really interesting. One of the things, we don't put it on the hand rim, we put it on the spacer bar. So we don't, because of exactly that. When you're going downhill and you try and stop or slow down your wheelchair, it at least for me, it cuts your hand. So we put it on the spacer, but if you want to reach out to me, I'd love to talk to you about, number one, like where we recommend putting it so it doesn't cut your hand, and also any other ideas. That's how we make our product better. I know that I think it was Joseph said earlier, you know, the feedback is incredibly important to us. So as designers, we'd love it if you could all please tell us all of this input about the bags. That anything that we produce is really important, so we can make them better. Anyway, thank you all very much.
That's great. Thank you. Shanique just put their contact information in the chat. And again, it's in your program guide. So please reach out to them. I'm going to put in a really quick plug for a company called Inclusively, which is a great platform both for employers who are committed to an accessible workplace, as well as supporting people with disabilities who are looking for jobs. So I know there's been a lot of comment in the chat about that, and I wanted to share it. And now I see that we have Amanda ready to go. So Shanique and Lisa, thank you so much again for participating, and hopefully we'll see you next year.
Thank you, Shanique and Lisa. I love what your brand's standing for. I think something we talk about in the adaptive fashion space is nothing about us without us, and you're definitely putting that into work. So it was a pleasure talking with you. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, thanks for inviting me.
I have my first question for you is, how have you seen the perceptions about spina bifida change through your photography and advocacy work at Redefining Spina Bifida?
Sure, thanks. So I know that we are at the fashion show and we've had some shirts and hoodies and hats and beanies and fun stuff, but actually our organization was founded on the basis of the need for awareness of spina bifida. So in 2015, we started the organization, and we have a team of photographers who volunteered who all have children with spina bifida. And really our mission and hope is to improve the perceptions of spina bifida. Every single parent who's ever been delivered a diagnosis knows that usually what happens is you're told nothing but the worst things that happen with spina bifida, all of the complications. And really what we're hoping to do is really let people know that every person born with spina bifida is a person that their life has hope and they are full of potential and promise despite the challenges that they face. So for us, really what we've seen is, first of all, the passion of the community. The spina bifida community really truly has a huge heart, which if you guys notice our logo, there's a big heart in it. I really truly feel like what we embrace is the heart of the community, which involves sharing our photography, the talents of our team, but also sharing the beauty of the individuals that we meet. So every single person that's living with spina bifida, along with their families, has a beautiful story to tell. And so although I'd love to say it's just the creative work of our photographers, it's also the stories that every single one of you have. And we really hope to continue to do that work. But really in that first week of launching our Facebook page, we had 1,000 followers. And now I think we've got 20,000. Like if we judged an organization based off of Facebook following, I believe we have the second largest next to the Spina Bifida Association. So with that said, like we've noticed the impact that it's made on our community, but also on the world and on the people that receive the diagnosis. That is a really tough time when you're told that your baby has this diagnosis and that you have all of these things ahead of you. And they do offer termination almost every time. A lot of the times it's urged. And so the thing that the doctors don't tell is what life is really like. And they don't show pictures usually. I don't want to say never, but a lot of doctors don't say that your kid can, you know, read, that your kid's going to be able to go to school, that your kid can do all of these promising things or hold a job or, you know, be able to do as many amazing things as you have. So with that said, I really truly feel that more than anything, our work has been able to help bring hope to families and to really create awareness in a way that's never been done before with spina bifida through sharing just stories. So, you know, we're able to tell more of a real life perspective of what living with spina bifida is like versus the medical definition or the textbook definition that families often receive during a diagnosis.
Definitely. I think your work is so important, especially for smashing those stereotypes and, you know, combating ableism. My second question for you is, what work still needs to be done to redefine people's understanding of spina bifida, and how is your company working towards this goal?
We're really looking for every opportunity to partner and work with any organization, company, any which way that will help us create a more public awareness of spina bifida in a way that humanizes the diagnosis, that helps people realize that people born with spina bifida aren't born with something wrong with them, but they're just like anybody else. They just have some challenges, and they deserve opportunities, and they deserve, you know, the opportunity to experience life and to live out some great opportunities through, you know, education, school, sports, whatever it may be. So with that, you know, photography and telling stories is one thing. We really dream to see a lot more improved diagnosis resources and partner with other organizations that, you know, really stand behind the improvement of, you know, all the various resources that support families. But also the fact that we have apparel, I think that's something that's never been thought of as advocacy and awareness and education, but you know, it's kind of like our opportunity to empower people living with spina bifida to say that they are redefining spina bifida, or that I am redefining spina bifida. So we're looking at, you know, ways that we can possibly, you know, come out with new merchandise and apparel. For instance, our Together We Thrive shirt really speaks of the community, because together we do thrive. So just thinking about it in a different way, and it's not just slapping a ribbon on something and saying spina bifida awareness, but it's doing it in a way that's cool. And really also in a way that's useful. Like the hoodie, I tell everybody the hoodie that I share it's my hospital hoodie. So my son actually just went through his 21st surgery this week. Every single surgery I have this hoodie on, and when the hospital room's cold, I put it on, but at the same time it's lightweight. So we look towards a lot of different ways to create awareness, you know, through photography, through stories, through you know, expanding that in a way that reaches people around the world. I think we've reached about 46 different countries as of Facebook stats. Apparel, we see a lot of opportunities. I think if anybody's followed our Facebook page for more than a couple of years, I think 2019 we were fortunate enough to have billboards on World Spina Bifida Day and be able to help expand that celebration of the day, that people living with spina bifida deserve a day that, you know, just like other disabilities, that they're celebrated, and that we can kind of scream from the mountaintops that you guys have amazing lives, even though you're facing challenges.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Amanda, there's a lot of great stories for you in the chat about the impact that your work has had on, you know, some of our members. And I just want to share too that we had the good fortune to connect with one of your photographers up here in Massachusetts, and his photography was beautiful and has really helped us elevate the outreach and the materials that we're providing to doctors and genetic counselors and nurses to raise awareness, to really address the diagnosis experience, to share more information about our organization and the support that we have available. So I don't think that you probably knew that, but personally, you know, on behalf of our organization, I'd really like to thank you for your work, because it's been incredibly helpful to us in elevating our own work. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you. That's touching. I know last year I started traveling, and I hope to do that more. And I think some of our team is as well. I think the biggest challenge we have is there's so much interest and demand to be a part of what we're doing, but there's only a certain number of photographers, and it's, you know, it's a pretty long process to add new photographers and make sure it's legitimate and they have an affiliation with Spina Bifida, because that is what makes our work kind of have the heart, is we all know what it's like to live this journey because we have a child with it. So I would love at some point to make it up your way and actually do some of the work. I know last fall I was able to go to Arizona, to Kentucky, and to Texas and work with those local communities and help those areas. So I would definitely love to partner with you guys further and possibly help tell some of those amazing stories and how uniquely different every single person's story is, however, how similar it is as well. So.
Well, Julia and I agree. We would love a Northeast visit, so you let us know.
I had hoped to do it last fall, but you know, sometimes things like Spina Bifida happen, and
or pandemics,
World Spina Bifida Day, and you know, a lot of craziness happened after those first 3 trips. But I do have some things planned this year, and you guys are definitely one of the top 3 locations to go to next in my books.
Oh, that's fantastic!
Thank you so much. Soon. Yep.
All right, I think Casey, we're gonna just say a quick thank you to Mindy Shire, who was not able to be here tonight. She just finished Runway of Dreams in LA, and I strongly encourage everyone to watch the video. It was a phenomenal show. A lot of the brands that are here tonight were on that show as well, and that's obviously a much bigger stage, but we're so grateful to them for squeezing us into a busy week as well. And we also, Stride Right is not able to join us tonight, but you've seen so many of their shoes, and they have been involved in adaptive shoes for quite some time. So again, all of their information is in our program guide, and you can check that out. So I think we're ready for Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
Hey, Casey.
My first question for you is, can you tell us a bit about your background and how you came to starting your own adaptive consulting firm?
Yeah, so I think kind of like everyone here, it's either a personal connection or a family connection. And for me, it was through my dad, who had multiple sclerosis. I kind of saw his challenges with clothing. And at the same time, I was in fashion school. For those of you who don't know, Casey and I both went to Kent. So I kind of saw my dad's challenges, saw what I knew, what I was studying, what I was learning, and put it together into a research paper and a collection similar to you did. And then after graduating, I worked at a couple different companies in the industry before working as the founding designer for Yarrow and Ulex at Juniper. And I believe last year Juniper was able to highlight some pieces, which was super exciting. And then it was kind of just a logical transition from there to really take what I had learned at Juniper, helping to bring adaptive fashion a little bit more mainstream, the challenges plus the successes, and take that and bring it to some other brands and organizations and see what we can do to make, adaptive pushing forward in the industry.
Amazing. And my second question for you is, what insights can you share with us that might help advance the adaptive market?
Yeah, I have 2 big ones. My first one is, and I say this to everyone that I speak to, that it has to be holistic. It has to be from start to finish. It's not just enough to make adaptive designs. As a designer, I tend to, have that design mindset and just start with adaptive designs, but it's not enough to just have designs. You have to go through the whole process. Lisa mentioned employing people with disabilities, helping to create the product. But then even past that, once you have a product that you love, you have to make sure the marketing is accessible, the social media aspect of it, you have to be able to reach the consumer. And then going as far as the retail shop that you're buying it at, or if you're online, making sure that the website is accessible, whether, if someone needs a screen reader or they need a description. And Casey, you actually spoke to a point earlier about how knit clothing is a lot easier for you to consistently keep sizing. So even brands can make small adjustments, like making sure that their product description on their website says what the garment is made out of. Saying this shirt is a knit and it stretches, then the consumer reads that and says, oh, okay, this might work for me, versus if they didn't know, it's a little bit harder. And then the second point that I always stress to brands, and some of the other brands also brought it up, is just being price conscious. Obviously, we want to take into consideration sustainability as well as equal employment and fair wages, as well as where the garments are made. But at the end of the day, if the consumer can't buy the product, it is amazing that it was made, and that's pushing the industry forward. But if we can't get it into the hands of the people that need it, we're making less of an impact that way. So those would be my big points there.
So true.
Well, thanks for having me, Casey.
Good to see you.
You too.
And I think next up we have Derek from Zappos Adaptive.
Exactly. While Julia's finding Derek, I just want to say, not just because Z is last in the alphabet, we thought Zappos would be a great brand to close with, because they facilitate so many of these other adaptive brands getting out to people. Their customer service is absolutely incredible. So many people have used them. They're just so pervasive in the industry. So we can't thank you enough, Derek, for being here and for being so patient. Drum roll for Derek.
Thank you for the awesome introduction. I'm so happy to be here.
All right, my first question for you, Derek, is how do the consumers of Zappos Adaptive influence your brand?
I mean, I think it's not just influencing like the Zappos brand, but if you guys have been listening to all these different panelists and all these different folks that are in this kind of like movement, everyone talks about authenticity, right? Everyone has been talking about, the listening to the community and making sure that they have a voice. And I think that's one thing that, Zappos Adaptive, us kind of, trying to build a retail presence for some of these products. That's one thing that we've been very successful at, because we wouldn't be here if we didn't listen to customers, if we didn't listen, or take the phone call serious from a grandma who was trying to find a pair of shoes for her grandson. Shoot, we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't have been able to kind of, move this along and make Zappos kind of like this home for, a lot of products that may be adaptive or inadvertently adaptive. So yeah, authenticity, I think, is just a huge, huge thing.
I think too, but going back to what Tracy said about product descriptions, I think you do a really good job of on the website saying what it would work for. I noticed that when I was shopping, like knowing that I need a seated fit and things that I might not have thought of being a seated fit, but I go on there and I see it listed, and I know it's going to work for my body type. I think it really does help the shopping experience.
Yeah, and that's like something that, just from our perspective, Zappos, there are a lot of products on Zappos, right? And if we can do our due diligence, we can go through, we can still bring on those products that work for people that are designed specifically for people with disabilities. But there's also other things out there that maybe if we take that work out of you or anyone with a disability or a dressing need or whatever, that has to go through and like grind through pages of stuff to see, something that may work for them. I think that's just something, that's just a little tidbit of something that Zappos Adaptive is offering. So thank you for noticing, Casey. That's a very large labor of love. So appreciate that.
And then what is a Zappos Adaptive product that you are most proud of, and how was the product created?
Yeah, so I think there's not necessarily a specific product that I'm the proudest of. I think it's just more or less just being a part of this, I guess this movement, this community, whatever you want to call it, because everybody within here, they want to move everyone forward, right? We all want to do what we can to just build awareness around this, and all of these different products that Zappos is able to work with some of our strategic brand partners to create, or working with some of the folks that are there, have that firsthand experience and are building these products because of that specific need for whether it's themselves or someone that they care about. It's just really being, the positivity around that and the impact that it can make. It's not about the one product. It's just about this whole going forward and like, you know, identifying products that work and just giving people that independence back and, you know, utilizing fashion as a form of expression, you know. And you know, there's lots of folks, you know, Joseph was talking about it. Well, we need, you know, fashion and we need this, you know, so it's like there's a need there, you know, we hear it too, you know, when we listen to the community. So I'm just really, really grateful to be a part of this, and the, you know, the noise that everybody makes is going to allow for, you know, more brands to be a part of this. To what Benedict had mentioned before, that there's not adaptive product, that it's just product, right, that everybody can wear, and like that's how we want to do things. And you know, my goal, and I'll leave it at this, is, you know, within 5 years, like Zappos Adaptive that's not a thing, right? Like Zappos just happens to have this type of product that will work for anybody. And that's a you know, a way that you can shop, and you don't have to necessarily go somewhere specific. So that's my goal. Yeah.
So we do have a question in the chat for you, Derek. Corey is wondering, was it hard to get Zappos on board with the idea of creating this division, or were they behind it all along, or somewhere in between?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you know, for those of you that maybe don't know a lot about Zappos, I mean, Zappos is a very, very retailer, and a very unique, just like, you know, job, because, you know, we really, really focus on our culture. You know, we really want to make sure that the employees are engaged with what's happening within the company, that everyone's on board with whatever we're trying to do. And because of that, like ingrained culture that Zappos has, when this idea for Zappos Adaptive came out, nobody said no, right? Like everyone was like, oh my gosh, this could move the company forward. And that's like one big thing at Zappos. Like if you have an idea, if you're passionate about something and it's going to move the company forward in the right direction, like no one's going to stop you. And I think that's just, you know, that's just really awesome. And another thing I'm grateful for, to be, you know, to have that experience to where, hey, let's try to make something and have this be like our side projects, not our main jobs at the company. And once we got big enough to where we said, like, I can't just do this as my side project, I have to focus on this full time. You know, all of us that are involved in you know, the 4 of us that are the main folks on the team, like that's how it's been. So the passion and us wanting to incite this change and equity within the retail space, no one stopped us from doing it.
That's amazing. You're getting a lot of great comments too about the fact that the employees make the videos to describe the products rather than bringing in people from the outside.
Shout out to Andrew if he's watching, because Andrew is an apprentice. He works in our Kentucky studio, and he is apprenticing for Zappos Adaptive and a few other teams, and he is one of those people that you will see in a lot of the videos, and he's really done a great job in stepping up the type of content that we're producing for the specific adaptive products. You guys will see it soon. I'm really excited about all that.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, and thank you to all of our brands.
Yeah. Can I say one more thing, Casey?
Yeah. Yeah.
This just came up. This had come up before. So one thing that I will mention to everyone about Zappos and with respect to returns is we have the opportunity now. If you're a customer of Zappos, you purchase something, and let's say you don't want to go to the UPS store. Let's say you don't want to print out a label. You don't want to do any of that right now. And moving forward, Zappos will actually have UPS come and pick up your box if you just set it in your front with whatever doesn't work for you. So, you know, if you're concerned that you're not going to be able to find something that you're shopping, that you're not going to be able to find something or it's not going to fit right, that's okay. Buy a bunch, you can return it, and even UPS will come and pick it up. So I just want to remind everybody that if you're having, you know, apprehension about shopping online.
Oh, that's so nice. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much again. And thank you to all of the brands. I'm going to pass it back to Julia and Jean now. And I just wanted to say thank you so much to Julia and Jean and all the hard work that the team has put in to put this event on, and to all of our models. Thank you so much.
Casey, thank you. We could never do this without you. You're absolutely the perfect moderator for this program, and I hope we will have you back next year as well. I hope you'll come back as well. I can't thank everybody enough. It's so it's just so uplifting. Julia and I keep texting each other about how excited we are it's so uplifting to see how close-knit, it's supportive, collaborative the brands are of each other. I think that really speaks to your commitment to what you're trying to do here. I think our models have learned a lot about what is available to them. I mean, the customer service, the personal Zoom fittings, the return policies, all of this is just making everything so much more accessible, so much more attainable for people. And so we just really can't underscore enough how much we appreciate all of you. And Julia, I want to let you talk too. But I think the big exciting news too is we decided we're going to just show the video one more time because we love it so much. So we want to see that before we go.
Yeah, I just want to echo what Jean said. It's really emotional sitting here and like seeing the passion from all of the different designers and brands, personal connection or not, and to be surrounded by so many people who want to see the people you serve, whether they're clients or customers or they're just members of your community, thrive and feel confident and feel beautiful. And watching the video every time feels like watching it for the first time. And it's, you guys have the models, the brands, the attendees, you have all given us the support to elevate this platform and reach hundreds of people tonight. And I couldn't be more grateful for all of you for volunteering your time or donating your products or pursuing this mission to make the world more inclusive. And I'm just so grateful to be able to even be a part of it, to be a host. It's incredibly rewarding, and I'd love to watch that show again. So with our farewell, I guess we'll say thank you, and we're going to play the show one more time, and I hope everyone has a great night.
Thank you, everybody.